nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming tonight. We're going to get started with some recognition this evening, our favorite part of our meetings. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gonzalez to recognize some special students this evening.
Thank you, Sarah. First, I'd like to say a belated Happy Mother's Day to everyone in the audience and on the board. I hope you enjoyed a special weekend. And I also want to say a special thank you to our teachers. We just finished celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week. They're always appreciated, but there were some special things going on in district, and they were well-deserved. So our first student recognition is for the Daughters of American Revolution Good Citizens program. This is a wonderful way to recognize outstanding young people who exhibit the qualities of good citizenship in their homes, schools, and communities. The program is intended to encourage and reward the qualities of good citizenship. The program is open to all high school seniors enrolled in public or private schools accredited by the State Board of Education. The student selected as the good citizen must have the following qualities: dependability, service, leadership, and patriotism. I'm happy to announce that this year's recipient is Rachel Springer.
I'll even turn on the microphone. Normally, we do this at the community center. Each year, the Governor Jonathan Trumbull Chapter DAR gives out 3 awards, one for Lyman, one for East Hampton, and one for Ram. And it's always an honor to stand up and read all the achievements. I see we have Natural Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, Honor Roll, Excellence in English, Excellence in Biology, Academic Excellence and Achievement in a Rigorous Program, Excellence in English, Chemistry, Spanish, etc. And then all of the other activities. So I have here for you your certificate. And hopefully we'll get a picture of this. And I really shouldn't do this because my face always leaks when I do this. So there's your certificate. And you keep this in your wallet, so if you get stopped by the police, you can say I'm a good citizen. And here's your pin, and normally we get Mom to pin you, but oh well. There you go.
Oh, yay!
We'll get a picture later. Okay. And yeah, normally we do it at the community center. We have a little food and everything else, and since COVID, we haven't been able to do that. And we have a little check for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm honored.
Congratulations, Rachel.
Thank you, Maureen. I think you should do all the celebrations. Tough act to follow. And for all the families that are in the audience, after we do all of these recognitions, we will go out into the atrium and have some opportunities for photos. So the next award we are going to present is from the Connecticut Association of Schools, which honors 2 high school seniors who excel in the performing and visual arts and have outstanding ability, scholarship, and leadership. This acclaimed recognition dinner was actually held last month at the AquaTurf in Southington, and tonight as a board we are recognizing and congratulating Kira Patel and Rachel Springer for being the 2 students nominated for these awards. Some of our staff members put together a small write-up I'd like to share for both of them. First for Kira. Kira has been a pillar of the art program during her time at Lyman Memorial High School. Her artistic studies have brought her on a visual journey across a variety of classes, along with accomplishment of submitting 2 AP art portfolios. Both her 2D and 3D work is at an amazingly high level and speaks for itself when on display to our school and community. Kira is one of the most gifted, dedicated, and modest art students I've ever had. It has been a joy over these years to watch her grow as an artist, taking on creative challenges, presenting her work, and developing detailed techniques with a variety of media. Her presence in the art room has served as an inspiration for her peers and will leave a lasting and memorable impact on our program. Congrats, Kira. And for Rachel. Rachel has been a dedicated member to the Performing Arts program here at Lyman Memorial High School for the last 4 years. Her passion lies in the work she does for the drama department. She has taken on multiple roles during her time here, including director for the middle school, assistant director for the fall play, stage manager, and lighting board technician. This year alone, she has assistant directed and ran the lighting board for the fall play, run the lighting board for the winter musical, and co-directed the middle school play, all while being a full-time student. She has been a role model to the other members of the stage crew and has made sure the program is set up for success when she graduates by training her peers on the lighting and sound boards. She has been one of the most reliable, hardworking, and talented students I've ever worked with, and it has been amazing to watch her grow these past couple of years. Congrats, Rachel. All right, celebrations continue. We're going to go on to the Connecticut Association of Public Schools Superintendents. As part of the Superintendent Student Award Recognition Program sponsored by CAPS, I'm proud to acknowledge this next group of students for their community service, service to others, academic prowess, and leadership and service to the school community. First, from Lebanon Middle School, Nora Rogers and Nick DiPiano are both model students who lead by example. They are dedicated to their academic studies as well as their community. They are genuinely nice people who get along well with all their peers. Nora is involved in many different activities, writing for the school newspaper and performing with the drama club. She also spends time volunteering at the library and enjoys learning about photography in her spare time. Nick is involved in sports, playing on the school's basketball and baseball team. He also volunteers with younger students at the elementary school. Nick and Nora, if you could stand to be recognized, congratulations. Thank you. Next to the high school, a name you have not heard tonight, Rachel Springer. Rachel's a 12th grade student at Lyman who has been super involved in a wide variety of activities at Lyman. Rachel is a part of two honor societies, the National Honor Society and the Spanish Honor Society. Rachel has used her time at Lyman to challenge herself with an incredibly difficult course load over the 4 years at Lyman. Currently, Rachel is taking 5 advanced placement courses and is taking a full load of high-level classes each and every year. Rachel has won numerous departmental commendations for her academic achievements in these classes. In addition to her many academic accomplishments, she's also been involved in extracurricular groups both in and outside of the school. At Lyman, Rachel is a big part of the Lyman Drama Company as a light and sound technician, stage manager, and even writer for one of the productions. Outside of drama productions, Rachel has also assisted with lights and sound at Lyman events and town meetings. Rachel is the Board of Education student representative and sits in on all monthly meetings. Rachel is the president of the Lebanon Leos, which is part of the Lebanon Lions Club in town. We're very proud of the work Rachel has done over the past 4 years to make Lyman and the community a welcoming and special place to learn and grow. Congratulations, Rachel. Also from Lyman, Madison DeFrancesca. She's a 12th grade student at Lyman, has been involved in a great number of activities during her time at Lyman. Madison is taking 7 high-level classes this year and has done the same each year while she was here at Lyman. She has received accolades from her teachers for her dedication to her studies every year since her freshman year. Madison has taken on a leadership role in multiple organizations that she's a part of. Madison is the Class of 2022 Secretary, the Student Council Secretary and Vice President of the National Honor Society. Madison is also a member of the Spanish Honor Society. Madison was involved with the Lyman drama in the fall of 2021 and the musical in the spring of 2022. Madison lent perspective, and I'm very appreciative for this, to the superintendent focus group responsible for developing the qualities that the district would be looking for in a superintendent. Outside of school, Madison's involved in jazz and ballet and a part of a competitive acrobatics team. Madison also is a police cadet with the local Troop K and has participated in various activities with her cadet team like a toy drive and the Special Olympics. As you can see, Madison has a tremendous impact in Lyman, being a model student and a member of the community. Congratulations, Madison. And last but not least, and this is fitting because she came in her uniform to the last time she helped out with something, we have Caroline Nettleton, and she is being recognized for the Connecticut All-State Music Festival. This year, Caroline was accepted into the Connecticut All-State Music Festival as a soprano in the treble choir. This festival is an audition festival that students get the opportunity to audition for if they make the Eastern Regionals, which was in January. At the beginning of April, she spent 3 days at the Connecticut Convention Center working with a well-accomplished conductor to learn music with students from all around Connecticut. Since her freshman year, Caroline has worked hard to grow as a musician and has been dedicated to all aspects of the music department while taking on other responsibilities. When she was accepted into Eastern Regional, she immediately pushed herself to give her best possible performance for All-State, accepting criticism with grace and looking to grow as a performer. She's a leader to this music department and learns from every opportunity that she's given, constantly pushing herself to take on challenges and to be the best musician she can be. Additionally, Caroline sang the national anthem during the Lebanon Korean War-era Veterans Ceremony. She ran inside from her softball game, beautifully belted out the anthem, and then rejoined her team for the win. Congratulations, Caroline. It's been my honor to read the words here by some of your teachers and to put my own twist on it, and to be, leading this fine district, which in large part is made up because of the students that are here in this room today. So thank you for your leadership, for being role models to your peers, and for all your hard work. We'll take a quick break, and I'll give you your certificates out in the atrium, and we can take a few pictures. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our students. Our next item on the agenda is communication. We do have two pieces of communication. The first communication we received is a resignation of board member Matt Smith, who has resigned his seat from the board as of this month. Our second, and we definitely wish him well, and we thank him for all of his years of service for the town of Lebanon. Our next item on the in the communication portion is a resignation letter. Mr. Gonzalez, would you like to read the resignation letter for us?
Sure, thank you, and I'd like to echo your sentiments, thanking Matt for his efforts on the board. So our letter of resignation is from Kathy Dooley, who is the middle school nurse. She's asking us to accept her formal resignation for the end of this school year, and says it's been a pleasure advocating and caring for the students at LMS, and she wishes us the best in finding her replacement.
Great, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is public participation. According to the Lebanon Public Schools bylaws, we allow up to 30 minutes for public participation. Each individual speaker is allotted up to 2 minutes. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Cherie, come on up.
Do I sit at the microphone?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Would you mind stating your address?
Sure. Is it on?
I think I left
The
it on.
line.
Yeah, I think I left it on, I don't know.
It says, it looks like it's up.
Yep, you're good.
I think it's on.
Okay, good. My name's Cherie Swenson Dodge. I live at 53 Leonard Bridge Road, and I have children in all 3 schools. I'll sit down.
Yeah, have a seat.
I'm gonna use all of my time because I really have 3 topics. First, I want to thank Superintendent Gonzalez and the board for the amazing job you did putting together a proposed budget for last year. It was very well put together and well thought out. And unfortunately, there's a conflict with the Board of Finance that I hope we can resolve in a way that's beneficial to the students. The reason I really came is I want to talk about the weapons policy in the schools right now, and I want to request that the board put in place a very clear and detailed policy for weapons. One that identifies what will be considered a weapon within the school, so that it's itemized and you know ahead of time and you're not having to make a decision that can put you in a situation where you feel like your hands might be tied by other mitigating factors related to the individual students. I would like to see the policy clearly state how the schools will respond and discipline the individual students. It probably depends on the scenario, so that a Cub Scout who left his pocket knife in his coat pocket should be disciplined differently than someone who intentionally brings a gun to school. And having a weapon should be treated differently than threatening other students with a weapon. And I hope the policy can clearly give you some guidelines for how to react and discipline students when that happens. And I would like to see the policy also outline how communication will be handled to other parents, either in the classroom or bus involved in that particular incident, or all parents in the school and the district. I will tell you, I was very surprised to learn that a weapon came to my students' elementary class. I learned about it months after the fact. And then I was more surprised to learn that the district ruled that it wasn't actually a weapon, even though it's a device that is internationally recognized as a weapon. So I hope that going forward, there's a more clear policy so that everyone knows what to expect, and the educators and administrators involved have some guidelines to follow with the response. How am I doing on time? I got one more.
Go ahead.
Okay. Third topic, I saw that in the special topics for the policy subcommittee earlier, there was a line item to respond to transgender and gender nonconforming children. I don't know what the intent of that line item is, but I do want to ask you as a board to, as you write that policy, to write a policy that respects the wishes of the students and is paying the most attention to their needs. I will tell you, I have an LGBTQ student in this district, and as such, I'm around several students who are trans and gender nonconforming. And it's a transitionary period for them, and they may come to a teacher or someone in the school asking for a different response depending on the scenario. They may ask to be called one name in private and a different name around other people, around their families. And I hope that the teachers and administrators can please request or respect those wishes and act accordingly and make appropriate accommodations for other things. There's a lot of misinformation going around, and there's a lot of concern about what to do with trans female athletes when they want to compete. There's always been concern about women being treated fairly, and probably the only group of people that's treated less fairly than women are transgendered people. And so I'm asking for policies that just support those students, and I hope that the purpose of our sports programs in this district are to promote sportsmanship and team building and let kids have an outlet to have fun, and that should include our transgender and gender nonconforming kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheree.
Thanks, Sheree.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Okay. Moving along to our consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve our consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by John, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Student Representatives Report. Hello, Rachel.
Hi. I just want to start by saying I'm sorry I wasn't here last time. I was a little sick, so I didn't want to bring that here.
Thank you.
All right, so at the elementary, I didn't turn this on. At the elementary school, it's currently last week was Children's Book Week. This week is Art in the Dark Week, where students are wearing glow-in-the-dark clothing and they're doing STEM-themed art project. Just combined STEM and theme. Oh my God. I just took an AP test, I'm sorry. Okay, there's also a lot of events coming up at the elementary school, like a dance, the 4th grade celebration, there's a trip to the middle school, there's going to be 2 concerts, one for 3rd grade, one for 4th grade, and a few field trips. The middle school, the play went great. We sold out and then some, which I think means there was a little bit of extra tickets. I'm not entirely sure. I just heard that we sold out and then some. The performance was amazing. The show ran smoothly. There were no problems. Me, Haley Gendron, and Erica Strong, who we all directed the play, we're so proud of the kids. We're really glad that we were able to do drama this year. There's a glow dance this Friday at the middle school. There's a spring concert coming up, and some students recently went on a Project Oceanology trip, so that's pretty cool. Lyman AP exams are happening this week. I think everyone's excited for them to be officially over in the next few days. Mayfest is coming up, which is really exciting for all the art students. Prom is next week, which is already starting some excitement. And there's a few senior trips and outings that are happening in the next month or so. My sports report is very simple. Because I unfortunately I realized it very last minute. I didn't have a sports report, so it's a little short. But baseball has 12 wins and 3 losses. Girls tennis has 5 wins and 2 losses. And for boys tennis, I do have a longer report. All of the players who have picked up a racket for the first time this season are doing very well competitively. And their #1 doubles team is undefeated in our division and has only lost 1 match outside of their division. And I do not have anything on track and field, unfortunately. So that is my whole report.
Do you have anything on track? No. Thank you so much, Rachel. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. And now I gotta go study for a physics test.
Go right ahead. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to our reports of our committees. We don't have safety and security with Dawn or Bruce's enrollment report. So why don't we start with you, Nicole?
Okay, facilities met this evening. The first item on the agenda was the tennis court. It will cost $7,495 to repair the impacted areas on the court. Kevin will ask about a maintenance program, seeing as though we're probably going to have to maintain the tennis court possibly every year. The start date of the work will be quick as soon as they get the contract signed, and the money will be coming out of capital. Next on the agenda was the baseball seating project. Handicap spots have been completed. The $1,600 fence will be done in 2 weeks. This is on the third base side. The money will be coming out of the operating budget. The sound booth is complete. The signage at the entrance indicating that there's handicap spots is still being looked at. Bleachers will be hopefully coming in the first week of June, and Fenceman is doing the left side of the fencing. That is Board of Ed funded, and then the project will be complete. For LMS Gymnasium, we had someone come in and look at the insulation on the pipes in the gym, and it will cost roughly $6,000 to repair that, coming out of the operating budget. We are also having the catch basins replaced as well, which is another item, and that work will hopefully be done soon. Did not ask when that will be done. Next was the spring.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I did want to interject with positive news. The catch basins are done.
Are done?
Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, next was the spring break project list. Kevin shared that he was very busy over April vacation doing a bunch of projects, including electrical enclosures for the parking lot cameras, He is going, on the agenda are a couple of doors at Lyman that need new key cards, so that you can swipe when you come on in. The power outlets have been installed, but the key cards are not completed. That's a $7,000 project, and hopefully that will be done before the start of the next school year. The summer project list was next. Andy provided us with a list that we will be looking at. And then finally, we talked about facilities, bids, and contracts. The landscaping contract is due by May 23rd. Originally, we paid about $51,000 to have all 3 schools landscaped and maintained, and Kevin predicts that it's going to be more due to the fuel cost increase. Also, our HVAC and boiler contract is up with MCOR, and that is a 3% increase as well. The end.
So those contracts will come to the board next meeting for vote, or those bids, I should say, for us to make a decision.
Okay.
Any questions for Nicole to know?
So some of the curbs needed to be repaired, and I think they were done before the paint job was done. So do we have to have the painters come back?
Where's Kevin?
Mr. French, if you could come up to answer that question, please.
Oh, sorry. I heard that some of the curbs needed to be repaired after the snow removal, and I think that they were repaired after the painting was done. So does the paint company have to come back, and will there be an extra charge if so?
I can look into that. We could probably paint them ourselves. It was around the catch basins?
I'm not sure. I think they're just curbs around the driveways and parking lots.
The snow contractor is still yet to come back and do their site cleanup. They haven't done that yet, and they're held accountable for that. I've sent them 3 emails, and I saw him yesterday, and he said he'll be here within a week. I don't know if I can believe that, but...
I did notice all the stakes are still...
The stakes are still there. There's divots in the middle school parking lot. There's a bunch of curb damage. So we sent him a pretty extensive email list about what needs to be done.
Any other questions for Nicole or Kevin? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Maureen, policy?
Policy met tonight for about half an hour. We only got partway through our list, so we will meet again, hopefully for an hour, possibly before the next meeting, and continue. We only really resolved two of the policies we were ready to recommend.
Alexis, negotiations?
Negotiations has met. We are preparing for our custodian contract.
Great. Questions for Alexis? Okay, John, Superintendent eval.
Superintendent eval subcommittee met twice, once with the full board, once with just the subcommittee, the offshoot of which is a draft that I'll provide for the board for final edits, hopefully tonight.
Any questions for John? Okay, Danelle, curriculum?
We did not meet.
And governance did meet. There are just a couple of updates for governance. So with Matt's resignation, he was the subcommittee, the finance subcommittee chair from now until November. What we'd like to do is have Nicole and John kind of co-lead the finance subcommittee and also condense the 2 committees. Since it's a lot of work, finance and facilities, we're going to go back to kind of the way that we used to do it a little bit, but under Nicole and John's leadership, I have no question that this will get done efficiently and successfully. So thank you guys both for stepping up and agreeing to lead this work until we can get a replacement for Matt. The second item I just wanted to kind of bring up is I'm sure a lot of us are aware that the town meeting for the town of Lebanon is coming up next Monday, the 16th. So that is the meeting where Andy will do a presentation for our Board of Education budget. Any public comments can be made at that meeting, and people are encouraged to use their voices to let the town hear what their thoughts are on the proposed budget. That will then bring us to a referendum on the 24th of May, so obviously, we'd like to encourage all voters to go out and vote on May 24th during the referendum. Anything else I forgot to add there? No. Okay, any questions? All right, thank you. Kathleen?
Do you want to add that there will be questions on the referendum?
Would you like to add that part? Because I'm not entirely sure of the wording on that.
I'm not positive of the wording, but I know the three choices are that it's too high, too low, or adequate.
Okay, thank you for that.
According to the charter, those have to be the three possible answers, and the Board of Finance did come up with the questions that has been okayed,
Okay.
at town.
Do you know if the percentage will be shown? The percent increase will be shown, or will it be just a dollar amount?
I'm not sure. I know the dollar amount is there. Is there?
I think it might just be the dollar
I
amount.
think it's the dollar amount.
That's how they word all the wording for the budget for the town meeting.
Yeah.
Dollar amounts.
I have a question.
More, yes, absolutely, yeah. More people we can get to go to the meeting on the 16th would be helpful. Nicole?
Kathleen, the wording on that, is it specific to the Board of Ed when they say too high, too low?
No, I believe there are two questions. There's one to the town budget and one to the Board of Ed budget. By charter, they have to, if they go to referendum, they have to have a question for the Board of Ed, but the Board of Finance also chose to add one for the town side of the budget.
Okay, so there's one that says is the Board of Ed too high, too low?
Yes.
And is the whole town too high, too low? Got it. Okay, thank you.
Or adequate.
Or adequate, yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no percentages. I'm just looking at the meeting minutes. Just in your opinion, Board of Ed budget with the amount too high, too low acceptable, and then the same for the town with the dollar amount imposed from the Board of Finance.
Okay, thank you. All right. Moving right along to our administrators' reports. Are there any administrators that would like to add to their reports? Oh, Mr. Gonzalez, would you?
Yeah, before Mr. Appicelli comes running to the podium here, Mr. Laskrzuski is at the Teacher of the Year event at the Bushnell with Erica Strong. So, that probably could have gone under recognition again. We're proud of her and her efforts, and we're happy that Mr. Laskrzuski is able to accompany her. All right, Mr. Appicelli.
Thank you.
I promise this will be quick. This will be a quick one. I did want to just, let everyone know that we are having somebody, internet safety expert, come in to talk to our students on Friday. He was in probably about 6 years ago. His name's Scott Driscoll. His presentation 6 years ago was absolutely amazing. When he was done, there was a crowd of kids that were right around him, just continuing to ask him questions. So, I just wanted to, let people know we're doing it in the gym. We're gonna, set up smart boards in front of each of the the bleacher sections there, and we're really looking forward to this. 6 years ago, we also did a parent presentation in the evening. We're not doing that this time, but we can at least send out some kind of notification to parents to say, hey, have a discussion with your kid about what they saw in school today. So I just wanted to let people know this was a great thing, and actually this is being done through a grant. So this isn't costing us any money. It's from a grant through CIRAC for student mental health. And I did put in there, and speaking of internet and social media and things, I don't know if you've noticed our Lyman Instagram page. but if you haven't,
Yes, I have.
check it out. It's actually kind of funny. There's, I can see who's, clicking the likes and things like that. And one of the things I did notice is an 8th grader who I happen to be very close to, who's very interested in Lyman, is keeping up with a lot of Lyman stuff through the Lyman Instagram page. So things are getting out there.
Great. That's fabulous. Busy times ahead for you, Mr. Epicelli and Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Busy couple of weeks. Are there any other administrators who want to add to their reports? No? Okay. Mr. Gonzalez, report of the superintendent.
Sure, thank you very much. So enrollment, you have a copy of our most recent figures in your packet. We are sitting at close to the highest numbers we've had all year, and just as a nice reflection to look back at what our numbers were in September. We've talked about the ongoing efforts of our preschool program to do continual screenings, but we have had other families move in, and just as a comparison to the end of the year last year, we're up 11 students. Moving into the COVID-19 update, not much has changed in terms of mitigation strategies or recommendations from the Department of Public Health or the State Department of Education. They did issue a statement that I took upon myself to put on our letterhead and send out based on their recommendation, just reminding everybody on coming back from spring break that we need to, stick to those strategies and really focus on keeping illness out of the building, regardless if it's COVID-related or not. We do have ample test kits that we're providing to families just to make sure if they are symptomatic that we're giving them an opportunity to test as quickly as possible. But again, our students, our staff, our families have been great about being cooperative and communicative to keep our numbers down. That being said, there has been a slight uptick in our buildings, as has been seen across the area, and as of this evening, our total was at 325 cases during the course of the year. So I know that we are feeling in a much better place, and that's a testament again to our students, staff, and families for their cooperation. But it's still something we're dealing with on a daily basis, and it's an added layer to the responsibilities that we have. Questions about COVID-19?
I have a question about enrollment.
Yeah, sorry for not asking.
No, it's okay. So I heard through the grapevine that preschool enrollment
Is going way up next year. Do you know anything about that?
I have not heard from that grapevine, but that would be a great thing. We will have to be mindful of our NIAC accreditation requirements and the ratios that we'll have to keep there. But we've had some conversations, about trying to increase our preschool offerings. That's a process that will take some time and research, funding as well. But it would be exciting to know that we have a large group of kids coming in.
And we're still going to do the half day next year for preschool? We're not going to a full day?
No, right now we have the 4 sections, 2 a.m., 2 p.m.
Right. And I know we mentioned somewhere down the line, maybe the following year we were looking at?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've referenced some of the legal recap that I got today at the legislative office, and there is a push for, that early start, trying to get more universal preschool. But, as Mrs. Quiles Glover has reminded me, it's not an easy transition. There's a lot of things that we have to take into account to prepare for. So the thought of having another classroom up and running next year is not reasonable or feasible, but we should be thinking about those possibilities in the future.
Thank you.
If I could, Erica is actually here.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Erica.
Not to put you on the spot. Danelle?
Question about enrollment. I never noticed before until I was on the post-grad committee. I thought there were 72 seniors, but we have consistently 80-something here. Is there 10 that I'm unaware?
Yeah, so there is enrollment requirements we have for students who are not present in our building that we're still responsible for. So I can give you an explanation of that.
Also, can I just ask one more question, and not to put you on the spot, Rita or Andy, but what is our maximum capacity with pre-K right now? Are we at maximum at 68?
If we wanted to consider going over the numbers that we have, we would have to consider adding additional staff. I don't know necessarily what the space capacity would be. We'd have to get, we'd have to be in consultation with NIAC and the state regarding that, but I know that our ratios are very tight at the end of the year, which is thoughtfully done through our screenings. But if we were looking to put more students, we'd have to put more staff.
So we're basically at maximum right now.
We're close to capped, yes.
Okay. It's great. In a way, right? It's great in a way, but if we want to increase, then we can put some work in.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, any other questions about enrollment or COVID-19? Okay, the agreement with Lisbon. At a previous board meeting, you'll remember, we celebrated the efforts of Sam, Jay, and their staff here at Lyman, traveling out to Lisbon and making a presentation and speaking glowingly about the offerings here at Lyman. Lisbon Board of Ed was impressed immediately, had conversations with Superintendent Keating about a educational services agreement. We did go into that jointly with Shipman and Goodwin, because Shipman and Goodwin represents both of us, and they were able to come back with a draft service agreement, which is at your place. If I could just, call your attention to page 2, in the second paragraph there, it does remind us that this would be for the starting in the 23-24 year. I know when we made the presentation, we were so excited, and we were thinking that this might be something that would happen next year, but it would be for the year after, which, while we'd love to have their students here as soon as possible, it does give Jay, Sam, and the rest of the team ample opportunity to prepare for those students who will be joining us and to recruit even more in the next year. And it does have also our current tuition costs there. And then on page 4, under number 10 in transportation, just reminding them that Lisbon is responsible for that transportation. And then the last thing I would call your attention to is just that this agreement would be from 2023 through 2028, so a period of 5 years. So it'd be a nice partnership that we could really gain some momentum and traction with.
I have a question. How many do you predict will come from Lisbon?
With Jay, Sam, and the team's recruitment efforts, I'd love to throw out a lofty number here. But if I'm being honest and reasonable, I think if we had a handful of kids start that following year, that would be a great place to begin. And as we're seeing, once we get kids in, they stay and they spread the news. So if we could grow it to be a double-digit number over years, that'd be awesome. But 5 students additionally would be 5 we would welcome and make part of our community.
Great.
Any other questions about that agreement? All right, 2022-2023 budget. At our last finance subcommittee, Val and I shared with you some possible reductions that we would have to make in order to go from what was our approved 3.92 to the Board of Finance 1.13, and we were looking to reduce about $559,000. In our initial review of the budget, after understanding that those reductions may be necessary, we went to the new initiatives first. We were able to come up with suggested reductions of about $191,000 there, which would significantly impact any of the new initiatives we wanted to add to our schools. That was not completely abandoning those ideas, but it took a lot of creative thinking to even be able to consider launching those in any form or fashion. We did unfortunately have to do some non-renewals, and that was a suggested reduction of $282,000. And what I would just remind the board that as we're looking at our budget, the main piece of that pie is salary and benefits. So when we're having to consider cutting $559,000, we have to look at positions. We did also have some resignations that have happened over the course of time. Those suggested reductions would be $173,000. And then last, we looked carefully at the supply lines, and we're able to pull $51,000 there. I guess what I would say, and those total reductions put us over the amount that we would need, but that's assuming that we do not fill any of the resignations, which are needed positions, and that we non-renew positions that we are also in need of. So none of these cuts are things that we can take lightly or things that are not needed. So they're going to be difficult for us to absorb for sure. Additionally, since the Board of Finance decision, we did receive information of our insurance costs going up to the tune of $128,000, and we've had some change in special education enrollment, which has added some complications to all of these considerations. I would also just share that the school and state finance project put out a report after the budget at the state level was adopted. Just something that I know has been a topic of conversation is the ECS phase out schedule for Lebanon, and we are held harmless next year. So there will be a $0 impact with ECS funding. However, by 2030, we will be completely phased out, and there's a schedule over the years that obviously Val and I will be continuing to keep you informed about as we move forward with future budget sessions.
Andy?
Yes.
When you make your presentation on May 16th, will you be talking about all the cuts and the insurance costs and the special ed costs that are going up to the public?
I do plan to share the impact of the reductions.
Thank you. And please highlight that.
Any questions about the budget? All right, and ending on a very happy note, believe it or not, the end of the year is right around the corner. As we come back from April break, things tend to move faster than ever. At your place, you have a colorful and full calendar of events here, things that are happening at the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. You are invited to attend each and every one of those. Please let the administrators know, do you not have one of those at your places? I can get you a copy of that. It's probably in your packet, yeah. But there's pretty much something happening every day of the month of May and into June. If you want to just let your administrator at the particular building know so that they can expect you and help prepare you for successful attendance at these events. Any questions there about end-of-year events?
I just want to add to, speaking of events, I just want to give a huge shout out to Lyman, because we had our 5K on May 1st, and that was to support Lebanon Public Schools, but we had so many high school kids take care of registration and man water stations and make colorful signs, and all those kids and the kids that ran in it. It was an awesome event, and so I think we were able to donate from the Lions Club about $350 to the senior class of 2022. So thank you so much for all your support. It was a great event, and we will have another one next year.
Awesome, thanks, Nicole. And not to spoil for any of the readers of my superintendent update, but there's some great pictures to lead into the June edition.
Okay, that brings us to our facilities report.
So you have the list in front of you. I'm awaiting the iris scan and camera enclosure invoices from Professional Electric. The line striping invoice was submitted to the town for payment. And let's see what else here. And we just finished basically the door project as well. And we're waiting for, as Val wrote on it, we're waiting for credits to come back to us from Doug Moore and Duncan for the shipping of the doors and stuff. Any questions?
Questions? Anybody have any questions? Andy, did you have anything you'd like to add?
No, it's just nice to see all the progress that has been made over the course of the year and to see all these, project moving to the green completion stage. So, Kevin, thank you for your leadership there. Val, thanks for having this nice chart to help guide our work.
It's really helpful.
Thank you.
Finance report. Hello. Here we are, looking at our April financials. So I put, again, our April update, comparison of where we were last year. And just another item I put on here was our projected overage that I'm thinking in fuel. So right now, because we are over our contracted gallons, we are paying market value when we have fuel deliveries. So the tanks are full right now for the year at least, not tippity topped off, but they're full for operations for the year. So Andy, Kevin, and I will be looking closely as we close the year out to how much more money we can encumber to maybe top off the fuel, or maybe we wait until we get into the contract with the town and top them off in July. So we'll be looking at that very closely. We seem to be doing okay, though, for fuel for the, like gasoline for the buses and diesel for the buses. But that is specifically heating fuel. And if anybody has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Sure.
Val, how much did you pay for fuel? What's the difference between last year and this year's price?
So our contracted rate that we were able to utilize through March was $1.73 a gallon, and market price is like $4.34 a gallon. So one of my greatest concerns was that, why is the budget going up so much so quickly as compared to other years? And I did consult with our oil company, and we typically do go over our 95,000 projected gallons. It's a hard number to project when we sign a contract a year in advance, right? And but you don't notice it at much when the market rate is $1.80 and your contract rate is $1.73. So that's usually the price difference that we're dealing with, whereas now it's literally quadrupled. So it's difficult, but we're going to be looking, so next month we'll be here for June reporting on May, and we'll be looking to close the year out. We're already starting to look at projections for the end of the year and trying to get everybody ready to finalize their purchase orders and close the year hopefully in July, August timeframe. Has there been any developments with M&J? Do you know? I know that the bus situation is rapidly declining. Right. We did, so. It's not a laugh. No, right. And so in the beginning of the year, we got a $3,000 credit from them, and we did receive another $8,000. Not reflected in here, it was received in May. Okay. But we are continuing to have conversations with them about how those numbers are calculated and how it reflects to our contract. And then to
operations for them. It's really important that they stay in business, right? It's really important that we have transportation. It's really important they stay in business. So we're going to try to do the best we can to work with them, and their job is to do the best they can to work with us and provide us buses, right?
I mean, even if, like you said, a credit, but even if, you know, they take this into consideration for next year's contract, right?
Right, so we'll be in the same contract. We have a 5-year contract, and our last year will be next year. I'm not sure the staffing issues will be resolved by then, so the conversations will definitely continue as they have been.
Thanks.
No problem.
Any other questions for Val? No? All right, thank you, Val.
No problem. Well, we looked at the facilities. Sorry, I forgot the other reports. Non-lapsing fund just discusses more about updates on the door project. And then our capital update here on the trial balance that you see just shows your athletics and facilities. You'll also notice there is the allocation for the asbestos project, which was approved at town meeting. So there's $160,000 now in capital for that project. That was approved on March 24th. It's just a very small line, so it's hard to see, but it's there. I just wanted to make everybody aware that it's there.
So we have $160,000. That's not the amount of the entire project, though. That's under. And since we have issues with our budget, do we have to do that right away? Or can we like keep that money? Can we sit on it for a little while? Can we use it for something else?
It hasn't been approved yet, right?
No, it has. It was approved at town meeting March 24th, and so it isn't a capital fund, so it's a revolving fund. The money stays there until it's used.
Does it have to be just for asbestos?
Yeah.
Yes, it has to be authorized for what the town authorized it for.
And is there
It has to be
a due date to use it? No.
No, not as far as accounting goes. I did have quick conversations. Is there a due date for capital?
No, I think, is it 80,000? Is it 2 years? Is it 80,000 a year?
We got the full allocations for the 160.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
80,000 a year was what I thought the Board of Finance had said, but maybe.
Okay, yeah, so the full 60 went into the account at least, 160, I mean. I had quick conversations with Kevin. His suggestion was to start with the middle school, and we can get the middle school, the abatement done and the replacement done with the projected contingencies from that sheet from the contractors that we saw last September, with $810 to spare.
And do they want,
So we can.
they want to start the work this summer?
I don't know. We haven't even started, he hasn't even started soliciting contractors at that point. So all those numbers we saw last September were from Anchor, right? Well, it's Barton and Leguise, right. I still call them Anchor, sorry. Anchor Engineering. So they'll have to go out and solicit contractors to come up with official pricing and a time frame. But at least to understand that dollar amount could potentially get us through the middle school is helpful.
So should we start looking into that?
Maybe over the summer?
Sooner rather than later?
Yeah, over the summer, probably, yeah.
For the summer?
Yeah, right. Time frames.
So for the next meeting, should we put
Yes.
that on the facilities agenda and have Kevin start working on getting bids? Okay.
If we can even get them, even though I know that it's difficult to get contractors.
The engineers should have a good sight on that though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the engineers will have a good idea.
Well, we chose the middle school because that's the place where the classrooms have the popping tiles on the floor, so we thought that would be the best place to start.
Thank you, Val.
No problem.
Okay, we have some new business, Maureen.
Yes, we have, how many? We have quite a few policies for the first reading, and most of them have to do with safety updates concerning health concerns, and so read them over, and we will bring them back next time for a second reading, and hopefully we'll pass them all. We did have one on the list that we thought we should delete since the charter trumps our policy about filling vacancies, so we don't need that policy anymore.
Right. And for 12 and 13, this is our first and only read.
Oh, first and only, oh, sorry about that.
It's all right.
First and only, yes. We had decided as a board quite some time ago that there was just minor changes, like update maybe in a statute or whatever, that we could just pass those, and those two fall into that. It was really nothing major, so we should just adopt those and put them in our manuals. And as the chair, I will move that we adopt those two.
Question? Did we run out of time for the policy meeting? Did we not talk about the policy for 5004, the school?
We began talking about it,
Okay.
but we only got a couple pages in.
All right, so now with information from a parent, are we really going to take a look at that and like fine tune it? I think that's important.
Yep. Maureen is going to have another meeting
Yeah.
this month, and feel free to come.
Yes, I took notes.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, public participation, I took notes.
Good.
Great.
Good.
All right,
So
thank you.
anyway, I move that we accept those two. Do we have a second?
Second.
We don't need a motion.
Adopt policies? Okay.
No.
Good.
We
Well, they're
don't need a
adopted.
motion for this.
Cool.
Thank you, though.
They go in my manual.
Okay, that brings us to our action items. Action item number 1, just a little bit of background. This is act on our June Board of Ed meeting date. We do need to make a slight adjustment to our June Board of Education regular meeting schedule for family commitments around the table. So the proposal from governance, we did discuss this, would be June 9th. If you could all check your calendars and make sure that, I will make sure that works with Bruce and Dawn also. But I did think it was important for us to make a vote on that tonight if the majority of us are available on June 9th. I'm flexible with time also, so if anybody has commitments, we can talk about it now.
Oh, we wouldn't have to meet at 7:30, we could meet at 7 o'clock? Oh.
We'll have a little league game that night.
So not until 7:30? Okay. Great. Sorry, Maureen.
Oh,
Okay.
so we can have policy at 6:30?
Yes.
I
Oh,
don't know.
no, not for
It doesn't
now.
look like it.
We'll have to do it a different day.
Okay.
I'll check. I don't know.
Okay, thanks. Will somebody make a motion?
I move to make a motion to move our June 14th regular Board of Ed meeting to June 9th
At 7:30.
at 7:30.
I'll second that.
It will have to be a special meeting because it wasn't posted as a regular meeting, but thank you.
And make it a special meeting.
Yes, it'll be a special meeting. Any discussion on that? Anybody want to make any requests? Okay, again, I'll double check with Bruce and Don. All those in favor of a special meeting on June 9th, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you.
I do have a motion to add an action item to the agenda.
Motion by Alexis.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Maureen. Discussion?
We need to act on the letter of resignation.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of adding action item number 2, act on letter of resignation, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Anyone take action on that?
Move to accept the resignation from Kathy Dooley with regret.
I'll second.
Motion by Alexis, seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
Exit survey.
Yes,
Just to make
thank
sure we
you.
do an exit survey for that.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we go into executive session and invite the superintendent for the purpose of discussing the 2022-23 unaffiliated salaries.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Maureen, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor of moving into executive session for the purpose of discussing 22-23 unaffiliated salaries, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Can you tell me what time it is, please?
It is
8:42.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.